What's going on, my Unit Galaxy? It's the Central Man here. So this is my review of NXT for the 13th of January 2021. The show kicked off with the opening match. We got Shotzi Blackheart taking on Candice LeRae with Indy Hartwell in her corner. A good opener. Shotzi had the offense first. I think a little bit of the match, Shotzi kind of worked on the arm of Candice. I don't know if Shotzi Blackheart is a submission wrestler. I do not know. And afterwards, she hit Candice LeRae with a DDT onto the ring apron, following up with a suicide dive onto both Candice and Indy. Sorry, burped. Anyway, so Indy Hartwell interfered, and then Candice got her offense on Shotzi. She locked Shotzi at Blackheart with the Gargano escapes. I think she kind of like escaped from the hold or break out of the hold. She hit like I think it was a bulldog DDT off the corner. In the end, you had Shotzi was going for like a move off the top rope. And then for the final time, once again, Indy Hartwell trying to interfere. She took the bullet. Shotzi kicked her off the ring apron. And then Candice hit Shotzi with a swinging neck breaker off the top rope to win this match. Yeah, it was a good opener. I don't mind Candice being Shotzi. It don't really bother to me. You know, I kind of like Candice LeRae. Shotzi, one of my favorites. You know, her character is kind of growing on me with the tanks, you know. Anyway, so we got the first segment on the show. We got the NXT champion Finn Balor talking about the main event of New Year's Evil between him and Kyle O'Reilly for the NXT title. I think he said about Kyle's the one sucking food out of a straw. He said about he's got a target on his back, and then you got the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne and the NXT Tag Team Champions Lorcan and Birch. You know, that's Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Full known as Martin Stone in the British wrestling scene. Dunne said about the only reason why Balor's got the title because he hasn't fought him. And I think he said about Balor, he got the title of one of the best wrestlers in Europe. He said about, I'm not going to get next in line, and then you got Lorcan and Birch jumping Balor. Dunne kind of worked on the injured arm. The announcer said like he's feeling the injured arm from the main event of the previous week's NXT. Dunne it's kind of like in the same position as the Kimura lock. I think it was kind of like an arm DDT onto Balor. They beat down Balor, then you got Kyle O'Reilly come to a rescue. He got mugged and get really dogpiled and ganged by Birch, Lorcan, and Dunne. And then you got the rest of the members of the Undisputed Era. The two members of the Undisputed Era, we got Adam Cole, Bay Bear, and Roderick Strong. No Bobby Fish. What happened to Bobby Fish? Is he injured? Last time I saw it was Bobby Fish was in the War Games match against Team Pat against the Undisputed Era at TakeOver War Games in November. I don't know. Anyway, so the Undisputed Era come to the rescue and the heels back off, and then you got this confrontation between Balor and the Undisputed Era. So it's leading up to the main event. I'll get to the main event later on in this review. I don't really talk about interview segments in pay-per-views and normal TV shows. Yeah, Nitro because it means in Oakland, but sometimes it don't do nothing for me unless it's leading up to like a brawl or something. Anyway, so Johnny Gargano, he kind of pulled over Candice, his wife's match against Shotzi. He said about him, they're gonna win the men and women Dusty Classics. And I think he called Dexter Lumis a freak. And then you got Austin Theory gift. You had the interviewer, the female interviewer. I think her name's Mackenzie. Took a dig at Johnny. Said about you lost to Kushida, and Gargano said, that match should never be happened. They're talking about the mixed tag team match from New Year's Evil. The Garganos. Johnny and Candice taking on Shotzi and Kushida. Yeah, he said about that match should never be happened. And then, Austin gave Johnny an envelope. That was by Dexter Lumis. And inside the envelope, we got pictures of Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. There's a picture of Johnny crying. I think he's running and crying. and Austin really holding his balls because he got shot in the balls with a fake cannon by Shotzi Blackheart. That is funny. So moving on to the first match of the Dusty Tag Team Classics, we got Everrise, that is Chase Parker and Matt, I think it's called Matt Martel, taking on the Grizzly Young Veterans, that is Zach Gibson and James Drake. I call them the GYV. Yeah, GYV, yeah, for short. So they're on a promo talking about they're going to win the Dusty Classics and they're going to become the next NXT Tag Team Champions. And then you got William Regal in a really an off-screen cameo, said about welcome to the Dusty Classics, let the tournament begin. There was pictures of previous winners of the tournament. Anyway, the match between GYV and Everrise, it was a good match. They're wearing matching outfits. You know, the colors of the outfits. They're wearing like grey, red, white. It was a decent match. In the end, you had GIV got the victory. They hit the ticket of mayhem onto Parker to win this match. They advanced into the next round. Then we got a video package of Raquel Gonzalez talking about her last women's standing match against Rhea Ripley. Said about she's apparently putting herself over being the next, being the newest baddest bitch on the planet. Now she's going after Io Shirai. I done my research. I'm looking up the card for Takeover Valentine's Day. I think it's going to be St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It's going to be Io Shirai versus Mercedes Martinez. I think they'll be in the future. I can see Io winning that match at Takeover next week. That's just me. I'll do my predictions for that Takeover show next week. Anyway, so yeah, it's kind of like reflecting on that match between Rhea Ripley, and next she's going after Io Shirai, putting over as like she's the newest baddest bitch on the planet. Anyway, moving on to the next segment, we got Shotzi Blackheart talking about her match from earlier between her and Candice LeRae, and then she announced that she's going to be in the Women's Dusty Classics alongside Ember Moon. This said about, it was good. I'm not going to get into it in details, and then in the end you had Shotzi doing, howling like a wolf. So that tag team looks good. Had some potential. Between Shotzi and Ember, I could see her doing well in this tournament. There's one segment, instead of talking about later on in this review, I'm going to talk about it right now. You got this tag team, I think they're called, it's Casey Catanzaro and Caden Connor. Caden Carter. They said they're going to be they said they're going to be looking to become the first winners of the Women's Dusty Classics. It's nothing special, nothing memorable. They just say, hey, I'm going to become the first Dusty Classics. That's it for the women. Anyway, so we got the third match. We got the North American champion Johnny Gargano with Austin Theory in his corner, taking on Dexter Lumis. A good match, Dexter has the basically the offense first, and then he hit like a swanton bomb off the top rope, completely miss it, and then you got Gargano had the offense, hit multiple kicks onto Dexter Lumis, hit one of the sickest kick onto Lumis. His face kind of like he had that funny facial reaction. Austin Theory got involved. And, I think like some of the times you had Lumis trying to lock the silent onto Gargano. He did it onto Austin Theory in the end. In the end, Johnny rolled up Lumis to the victory. It's really funny that the Wave got the victories for this week's episode of NXT. I know it's last month, but, you had like Candice defeat Shotzi Blackheart, and now Johnny Gargano defeating Dexter Lumis. Anyway, in the end, you had Lumis locking the silent onto Austin Theory, and then the numbers game catching up to Lumis, and then you got Theory and Gargano basically beating down Dexter Lumis. He's about to hit Lumis with the chair, and then you got Kushida came to the rescue, kind of locked Johnny with I think it's called the Surf Locked. It's basically a Kimura lock onto Johnny. He's tapping out, and then and you got Loomis locked in the silent onto Theory, and then I think he tapped there as well. So, and also they announced that the following week's episode of NXT, they'll be also part of the men's Dusty Classic. We've got Kushida and Loomis taking on Gargano and Theory. I can't wait. So it's basically, I say a match of death because actually Kushida and Loomis, that's a weird pairing. I'm not too sure about this tournament. This is some of these tag teams look weird. It's got more like a Head Cheese booking. Head Cheese, Al Snow and Steve Blackman. Anyway, so we got one interview. Like I said, don't do nothing for me. Interview segments on shows unless it's leading up to a brawl or something. You're basically Dunn and Lorcan and Burke talk about we're gonna take out. If Don has any shot at the NXT title, he needs to take out O'Reilly first. And then we got the face-to-face fight pit segment between Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. They should have done this match at New Year's Evil, the fight pit match between Thatcher and Ciampa. Unfortunately, it was pulled due to Thatcher suffering an injury. Thatcher said in the segment, he is ready, he's cleared to face in the fight pit. And Ciampa says he needs to go to enemy territory to change the culture of the NXT locker room. And he said to Thatcher that the only reason why he's doing the Thatcher's Can segments because he's taking liberty. The Thatcher's Can segments is basically Thatcher's teaching people how to lock in a wrestling hold. And Thatcher said to Ciampa, the lion's gonna take over the zebra. And Ciampa said to Thatcher, do you look like I'm a freaking zebra? It was a good segment. It went back and forth. Wasn't, they're doing shoots, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't fantastic. It was good. It's just building up to the fight pit match. We'll be moving on to the next match. We got the other match of round 1 of the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We got Aisha, Swerve Scott, and Jake Atlas taking on the debuting of MSK. They are the fully 2 members of the Radicals from Impact Wrestling. That is Zachary Wench and Desmond Xavier. Right now they are Wesley and Nash Carter. The match was okay. An okay tag team match. Basically getting MSK over. They hit like a Hurricanrana. I think it was Lee hit the reverse Hurricanrana onto Scott to win this match. MSK advance into the next round of the tournament. Then we got Scarlett Bordeaux in this segment, with fortune cards. If you go to a fortune teller, the fortune teller telling you about your future. There was footage of Karrion Kross beating Damian Priest, and also another footage of Finn Balor, the NXT champion. I'm guessing this is leading up to a future match between Balor and Kross, probably for the NXT Championship. Who knows? And then we got Xia Li with Boa taking on... I watched this on the network. The 13th of January's episode of NXT. I'm going to butcher this person's name. Katarina Fortes? If that's her name. Anyway, it's just a bona fide squash match. Xia hit 2 basically kicks onto this jobber to win this match, and then you got this person on the throne. I don't know who this person on the throne, basically asking Xia to beat this person even more, basically with punches, like punching her like a punching bag, and that was it. You can tell like Xia Li is leaning towards heel. I'm guessing she's a heel now. I want to see this match. I want to see Xia Li versus Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. Battle of the East, because they come from the Far East. Io Shirai's from Japan, Xia Li's from China. That'd be a potential match, if Io Shirai is still the NXT Women's Champion. Anyway, so I talked about this segment early on in this review about, Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. Talked about they're looking to become the first, women's to win the women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics. It's just meh. I like the segment between Shotzi and Ember forming this team. That's just me. Anyway, and now we've got this segment between Scott and Atlas after losing the match between Lee and Carter, MSK. They end up arguing, fighting, and you got Bronson Reed breaking up the fight. I think Scott got in the face of Reed. I think it's leading up to something. It could probably lead up to a match or a feud. Who knows? Anyway, moving on to the main event. The main event, we got the other match of round 1 of the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We got Breezango, that is Tyler Breeze and Fandango, taking on 2 members of the Undisputed Era. That is Adam Cole, Beba, and Roderick Strong. I almost say Kyle O'Reilly, but he's in corner. I'm guessing he's still recovering from the jaw injury from New Year's Evil. This is similar to the previous match at the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic between MSK and Scott and Atlas. It's just basically getting Undisputed Era over. And that was it. I don't want to see Breezango winning this match. I'm not a big fan of Breezango. I don't like their gimmicks. That's just me. Anyway, nothing much about this match. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't great or fantastic. It's just a decent match. It's more focused on what's going on outside the ring. You got Lorcan and Birch and Dunn beating down Kyle O'Reilly, trying to break O'Reilly's jaw, and then Balor came to the rescue. Dunn kind of shoved Balor's arm into this scaffold, to set up the lights. And then Dunn basically knee Kyle O'Reilly into the barricade, breaking his jaw in the process. His jaw is now bloody. And then Cole trying to hit the Panama Sunrise onto Fandango. Fandango kind of like countered it into a backdrop. He's going to his finisher off the top rope, but he really eats the last close super kick to win this match for Undisputed Era. Yeah, I almost say Fandango's part of the Undisputed Era, but I'm talking about Adam Cole. Anyway, so Cole was checking up for Kyle, and then you got Dunn, Lorcan, and Birch basically looking down towards Balor and the Undisputed Era. I don't know what their name is going to be. I don't think Pat McAfee is going to wrestle for NXT on a full-time basis. That's just a one-off, to end the feud between him and Adam Cole. I could see Pete Dunne being the leader of this new group. It's got potential, You got Birch and Dunn are British. One's a Cockney, one's a Brummie. And yeah, Lorcan's American. My final rating for NXT for the 13th of January 2021 is a 7 out of 10. This show was decent. Yeah, it's a downgrade than the New Year's Evil episode from the previous week. Besides that, it was a good show. The okay has to be the men's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic matches from round 1. Isaac Scott and Jake Atlas versus MSK. It's basically getting MSK over, and the main event between Breezango versus the Undisputed Era. It's just furthering up the rivalry between Undisputed Era and Finn Balor versus Dunn, Lorcan, and Birch. Nothing in the bad. Besides that, there's some good. Has to be the opener between Shotzi Blackheart versus Candice LeRae. The pictures, the cartoon pictures of Gargano and Theory. And one side note, in the match between Gargano and Loomis, Gargano ripped up the picture of Gargano crying, and Barrett says that should be on eBay. That was funny. Bit of a side note, forgot to talk about it in that match from earlier in this review. And you got GIV, the Grizzly Young Veterans versus Everrise. That was solid. And also the face-off between Gargano and Thatcher, building up to that match at the Fight Pit. Yeah, 7 out of 10, a good show for NXT. I hope you enjoyed my review of NXT from the 13th of January 2021. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, smash the like button, and subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube for more wrestling videos, moral videos, and more. And this is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later.